squash that tastes like potatoes. I'm very excited today because I'm going to be trying mashed potato squash for the very first time. I'm going to try roasting it and try it after it's roasted, and then I'm going to try mashing it like an actual mashed potato. So what I've heard about this squash is that it's lighter in color, so it looks like a potato, and when you cook it, it's lighter and fluffier than a normal squash is. And I have heard that it tastes like a cross between a sweet potato and a Yukon Gold potato. So I am really curious to see if that's true and to try it out. So let's go. I have 3 of these, so I'm going to cut them open and scoop the seeds out and cut them so I can get them ready to roast. That is white inside. I'm like really going to be curious to see how this is. All right, look at that. All right, so let me get the seeds scooped out. There are a lot of seeds in here, but it's actually really easy to scoop, so that's nice. Just got to get that. There we go. That's actually, oh, this is actually a really easy one, so that's nice. Got my first one hollowed out, scooped out. Just gonna do the same with those other 2 there, and then we'll get ready to roast them. These are ready to go. I've got them all cleaned out. Any of these little threads that are left on cooking will be easier to pull out then, but I got all of the main out, and so we're just gonna add a little olive oil to them. A little brush. And now some salt and pepper. And then we just flip them over to roast them. I have my oven preheated to 375 degrees, which is about 195 degrees Celsius. And I'm going to roast this for 45 minutes. What is mashed potato squash? So mashed potato squash is basically a white acorn squash. It has similar nutrients to acorn squash. It is low in carbs, or lower in carbs than potatoes, which makes it nice, and lower in natural sugars than potatoes. So it's good for the specific carbohydrate diet because it's a squash, but I'm really hoping it's gonna come out like potatoes. This is pretty exciting to see. These are just out of the oven. I'm pretty sure they are done because it was pretty soft when I flipped it over, but we'll just make sure, yeah, very soft. That was 45 minutes, so I'm just going to let this cool and then we will try some. All right, my squash ready to go. That is a very interesting flavor. So it definitely doesn't taste like squash, which I'm glad. I'm not a huge fan of squash, actually. I mean, I eat it, but I definitely like milder tasting squashes, like spaghetti squash and delicata squash. So this definitely fits with that. It is definitely mild. I don't know if it tastes exactly like potato, but it doesn't taste like squash. I'm not sure quite how to describe it. It's definitely got a little more bite to it than a potato, I would say. And you know, the texture is still, it's definitely more on if you're on a waxy potato side. But I'm going to try to, it's definitely good to eat roasted like this, just like you would any other squash. I think it would also be, or I'm gonna actually try it mashed. So I'm gonna get this ready and mash it. I've got my squash all scooped out into the bowl. And I add a little butter. It's still warm. I didn't want it to start cooling off too much so that the butter wouldn't melt. I'm going to use an electric mixer to beat this to see if I can get it nice and fluffy. I'm also going to add a little bit of yogurt. And so let's mix it. All right, look at that. It looks very creamy. Let's see here. Yeah, that looks creamy. It's not as fluffy as a mashed potato, but it's nice and creamy. I think this would be good for a shepherd's pie topping, or just to have as a side dish. It looks nice, so let's try it. All right, here we go. Yeah, I like that a lot. It doesn't taste exactly like a potato, but it doesn't taste like squash either. So it's its own thing, but I like the texture whipped up like this. It's nice and creamy, tastes really good. This would make a nice side dish. Yeah, I like that. It has a little bit of potato flavor. I don't mean to say it doesn't taste like potato at all, but it's not obviously going to replicate a potato, but it has a different flavor than squash. And it's more of a, I guess more of an earthy flavor. It's just got a very nice savory flavor. I definitely would make this again. It was a little bit of work, but no more work than regular squash, except you're gonna go through the step. I definitely recommend going through the step of mashing it and making like a mashed potato type of dish out of it. It just adds that extra texture that I prefer. But you can serve it roasted just like you would any other squash. Like I said, I think it would be great for a shepherd's pie, so I may try to do that. Let me know in the comments, have you ever tried the mashed potato squash? I'd love to hear what you think of it.